Welcome once again to my channel. My name is Winnie Kwach. A playlist where we get to discuss everything events. This is our platform where I get to share everything that I've learned over the years, hoping that we will learn, grow, and inspire each other. For today's episode, we will be talking about client service. Who is a client? What is client service all about? How can you improve your client service when you're dealing with your different clients or customers? And ultimately, if you're looking to hire a client service manager, account manager, or project manager, what are the things that you need to look out for? So feel relaxed, and if it's your first time, please subscribe, like, comment, and also share. Client. So who is a client? A client is someone who pays for a service, or a person who pays either an organization or a person for a service. And if we include a product or an idea, then the same client can also be called a consumer or a customer. So I managed to divide the clients into 3 tiers. Number 1, we have what we call the primary client. Primary client is a person who basically pays for the product or service directly or indirectly. So it could be an organization, as I said, to ask a brand manager to interact with you one-on-one for you to organize an event. That becomes your primary client. And it could be also their boss has asked them to reach out to you to do a product launch. They're also a primary client. And then we have what we call a secondary client. Secondary client is a person you report to. Your upline, this could also be your colleagues, it would also be someone you've contracted or you partnered with to enable you bring the event to life. And then we have what we call the tertiary client. Tertiary client is, or should I say, are people that are more or less third party. So it could be a supplier, it could be a person who can influence the outcome of your event in terms of social media and influencer. It could also be the government, in this case could also be your client, and also anyone you basically subcontract or has a say or can affect or your events in whatever for the outcome. So bottom line is you have to act with empathy, you have to be professional, and at the same time you have to care about your product, about your client, in order for you to excel in this particular field. So what are the roles of a client service manager or an accounts manager, a project manager? The number 1 key role is communication. In order for you to cater to your client or your customer, you need to first of all understand them before they can understand what it is you're trying to articulate. Communication is very key because this is basically the main pillar of how we operate our businesses. Here is where you get to ask the right questions for you to provide the right answers or solutions. Here is where you also are able to learn about the product or the event or the objective of the client for you to be able to give the right solutions. So if you have an event that is coming and you receive a brief, as client service or the person who's running the particular event, you need to be able to understand what it is your client or your customer needs. So in order for you to be able to provide the right service, you need to ask the right questions, understand the brief, ask the right questions, get to give solutions that are in line with what they aim to achieve. The other thing you also need to do that is under communication is proper documentation. If you're using an intelligent system, so if you're using a CRM or you're basically just doing everything on Excel, then here is where you basically get to document everything in terms of your email, when the brief came in, when the brief was when the proposal went out, the communication in terms of the different changes you were asked to deal with, the budget that was approved, the quotation that was sent out, everything to do with this client has to be in one particular folder. You have to be highly organized such that if another person basically succeeds this particular client in the same organization and they call you and they ask you where did you reach in terms of communication, you're organized enough to be able to share the correct information. You're able to also provide paper trail in terms of where the conversation had reached. Emails, documenting each and everything that needs to be documented. The other thing is real-time updates. So supposing you've been hired to be the client service or account manager and you're not the one necessarily running the event, you need to be able to update the client real time. So you can use WhatsApp, you can use SMS, You can also document it via email. You should be able to escalate with real-time solutions. Or if there's a problem, escalate and say, okay, so this is the situation on ground, but currently this is what we are working on, hoping that we'll be able to achieve the required result in X time. So being able to just communicate for the client to feel comfortable. Because remember, client service is all about relationship. And that is why you find when you're in an account and another client comes in or you're changed from an account, the client will always feel uncomfortable because it's all about relationship. Until they get to know you and understand you, and until you get to understand how the client works, they'll always feel uncomfortable. So it's all about how you communicate. The other thing that you're required to do as a client service expert is guidance. You need to be expert. Remember, you're the expert of the subject matter. So if you're given an account, you need to do your research in terms of what the account is all about. What is their mission? What is their objective? Where do they plan to be in terms of 5 years from now? What type of events are they looking to achieve? Are they planning on being event, trendsetters? Are they looking at using more of technology? The other thing that you also need to provide insight about is their competitor activities. You need to be on the ground in a way that you get to know the current things that are happening, the ongoing activities, what it is that the competitors are doing that you can also benchmark and improve on. So just being the expert, giving guidance, and also offering insightful reports that can help them make, informed decisions. The other thing is that when you're doing all this, you need to also look at the proposals that you share. Are the proposals that you share answering to the briefs that you've been given, the conversations that you have? Let's say you're having a conversation with your client and they are into technology and you're busy offering traditional solutions. They will ignore you, or they will basically repel you, because people want guys who offer value. If you're not offering value, I will look for the next person who offers that to me. So being able to basically give feedback that they can. Remember, the client is also answering to a boss. The client also has an upline. So you need to help the client, or you need to help the customer be able to basically answer the questions that they have. Efficiency. The other thing that you're expected to do is be efficient. You need to deliver what we call execution. So if you have a team that is executing on your behalf and you're not necessarily the one running the event, you need to make sure that if you told the client that the setup will be up at 9 a.m., make sure it is up by 7:30 a.m. so that you can do your own dry run. If you told the client that the MC or the MC will be there, or the ushers will be there at 10 a.m., make sure they're there by 8:30 so that you can cross correct whatever it is that is going wrong. For example, someone comes in with red hair and the event, the client's brand colors are blue. Surely, how do you work around that? And their competitor's color is red. So such things. The other thing that you need to do is making sure that you manage your team and everything that has to do with your team, giving them the correct brief so that you look like you're on the same page. You cannot be having corridor conversations with your client or your customer, and when it comes to ground, your team looks like it's the first time they're hearing this particular news or update. You also need to make sure that your suppliers are happy, paying suppliers on time, giving an update in terms of where the client's account is, in terms of you gave us X amount of money, we spent X amount of money. This is a balance you have, and this is how we can actually utilize it to add value or have return on investment. Basically, your work is to make their work easy. A client needs to go to bed knowing that I can trust Winnie to be on ground without me receiving calls from my upline or my boss about the way things are not on track. Loyalty. This I cannot stress enough. Clients are looking out for account managers, project managers, event managers, and also client service personnel that are loyal to their brand. So let's say you're having an event where everything does not go as planned, and you have it on maybe, let's say, on the 28th of the month. And then on 29th, their client's competitor has another event. And you busy posted photos of how their competitor's event was well attended, well executed compared to the one that you were running. So where do we draw the line in terms of loyalty of brands, especially if a client is paying for it? You need to be able to separate your personal life with your professional life. And if you're a person who embraces different brands and you know your client is a bit, feels a certain way about how their brands are viewed, then you need to just cut that link in terms of keep it professional. But once you cross that line where you become friends with your client, be sure that they will always be monitoring your account. Be sure that they will always be monitoring your social media handles to know what it is that you support, what you're all about, and this can ultimately affect you career-wise and also how the account operates. So the other thing that the clients look for is support. This is the last point. And support goes two ways. So where relationship plays big in terms of this particular term is clients are looking for someone to support them in terms of everything that they need to achieve. So everyone has KPIs. Your client has KPIs, you have KPIs. They will lean on you to be able to achieve their KPIs. And sometimes this also borders or crosses over to the personal level of where someone will tell you, I have a birthday party, or my child has a birthday party tomorrow, can you buy for me balloons? They're not paying you, but this is client service, imagine. And this is how you build relationships, this is how you make them feel comfortable. But ultimately, what I would just advise you is keep it professional, because if you're doing everything that you're being paid to do and slightly adding value, then clients will always be comfortable with you, they will always be answering to their needs, and you will be exercising empathy and professionalism. So that is it. But even before I end the video, if you're looking into joining client service, or you want to be an account manager, or you really just adore the way when you pick up calls and you have a problem, the person on the other side of the line is able to understand you and help you solve your problems, then there are a few qualities or skills that you need to work on. Number one, you just need to be a leader. You need to work on your leadership skills so that you're able to articulate yourself, you're able to provide solutions and lead and also guide the client. You also need to be a problem solver, someone who does not only identify problems but offers solutions that benefits both you and the client. And thirdly, basically communication. This cuts across in whatever industry you're in. Being able to understand others before you're understood, being able to articulate yourself in a way that people draw value from your sentences and your conversations, being able to research in such a way your client always see, when they see you, they see solutions. When they see me, they say, hey, that is it. Me, I am good, I am done. So that is it, guys, for today. And thank you very much for watching. Please like, subscribe, comment, feel free to share. And if you're looking at anything that I should talk about, please comment on the comment section, and I'll be able to just post a video on it. Thank you. Until next time. Asante.